The universe had seen many powerful rulers, but none were like Queen Sareth of the Acheron Empire. Her voice alone could command fleets the size of small worlds. Her orders shaped star systems. Her decisions could end wars across galaxies. Millions bowed to her name, and entire civilizations feared her shadow. She was known for calm strength, cold logic, and an unshakable heart. Nothing frightened her. Nothing made her tremble. Nothing ever disturbed the stability of her empire, until the day she saw the human. The meeting was supposed to be simple, a diplomatic gathering between Earth and the Acheron Empire. Humans had recently joined the galactic stage, surprising many species by rising from a death world with impossible survival rates and terrifying determination. Most alien leaders attended these meetings with caution. They expected humans to be dangerous, unpredictable, impossible to control. But Queen Sareth had not expected what happened the moment she saw the human representative. His name was Commander Elias Rourke. He was not a politician. He was not a trained negotiator. He was a soldier with a calm voice and a steady posture, chosen only because Earth believed honesty would build a better alliance. He entered the grand imperial hall with measured steps, wearing a plain Navy uniform without decoration. He didn't know the Acheron customs. He didn't bow. He didn't kneel. He simply walked forward with a natural confidence that ignored the thousands of alien eyes staring at him. And then Sareth appeared, descending slowly from her throne platform. She walked with the dignity of someone born to rule. Her long cloak shimmered like starlight, and her violet skin carried faint golden patterns unique to the royal bloodline. Her eyes were bright silver, usually calm, always controlled. But the moment her eyes met Elias, her hands shook, a single tremor, small, quick, barely visible. Yet the entire empire saw it. Gasps spread through the hall. Advisors turned pale. Guards tightened their stance, uncertain if the queen had sensed danger. No one had ever seen her react like that. She was the most composed being in the galaxy. Her body language was always perfect. Her expressions always balanced. She never made mistakes. She never showed fear, but she trembled. Elias, confused, blinked. Sorry, Your Majesty, is something wrong?" His voice carried easily across the hall. It was calm, deep, and steady. Sareth's breath caught for a moment. To everyone else, it looked like she was startled. But inside her, something much deeper was happening. Something she had buried for years. She remembered that voice. She remembered it from a different time, a different place when she was not a queen, not a future ruler, not the heir to the galaxy's most feared empire. She remembered being a frightened girl trapped inside a ruined research station. After a failed experiment caused the station to lose power, she remembered the darkness, the shaking walls, the fear. And she remembered a human young man, only a passerby soldier back then, who broke through the blocked corridor, lifted debris twice his size, and carried her to safety. She had seen many warriors, many guards, many heroes. None fought like that human had fought to save one scared alien girl, but she had never learned his name. She had never known who he was. She only saw his face for a brief moment before he disappeared into the chaos, leaving her with nothing but the memory of strength. She had searched for him for years, believing he was a dream of her frightened mind, and now he stood before her. Elias, however, had no idea. He didn't remember saving any alien girl. He didn't even know the Acheron Empire back then. He had been a young soldier stationed on a neutral research station, helping with simple tasks. He didn't remember faces in the smoke. He didn't remember who he carried out. To him, it was just another emergency rescue, but to her, it was the moment that changed everything. The hall stayed silent. Everyone waited for her reaction. Sareth slowly lifted her hand, trying to hide the tremble. You are the human representative?" Her voice wavered slightly. The Empire froze. The Queen did not waver. Ever. "Yes, Your Majesty," Elias said, unaware of the storm inside her voice. "I'm Commander Elias Rourke." Her eyes lowered for a breath, steadying herself. "Rourke," she repeated softly, like she was testing the sound of the name. "Welcome to my empire." The hall exhaled again. Advisors quickly whispered to each other. Something was wrong. Something was unusual. Something was dangerous. The Queen never welcomed outsiders like that. Elias, meanwhile, simply gave a polite nod. "Thank you." She motioned for him to walk beside her, a position of unbelievable honor. Even her highest generals did not stand there casually. Every alien present went stiff. Elias didn't understand the meaning, but he followed politely. As they walked toward the center of the hall, she tried to control her breathing. Her mind raced. Her heart felt unstable. She had ruled without fear for years, but the presence of this human made her feel something she didn't understand. Was it fear, relief, recognition? Something deeper? She carefully studied his face from the corner of her eye. Yes, this was him. The same eyes. The same calm expression. The same voice that once told her, "You're safe now." The same strength that lifted her without hesitation and shielded her from falling debris. She tried to speak, but her voice cracked. She stopped walking. The hall froze again. "Is something the matter?" Elias asked. Sareth inhaled sharply. Her silver eyes locked onto him with an intensity that made even her guards blink in confusion. "Human, have we met before?" The question hit him like a sudden shock, but not because he remembered her. He simply wasn't expecting a queen to ask something so direct, almost emotional. "I don't think so, Your Majesty." Her eyes narrowed with a quiet flame. "Are you sure?" "I usually remember important meetings," he said lightly. "And I think I'd remember meeting the ruler of a galactic empire." The Averron elite exchanged nervous looks. Humans were known for bravery, but this human spoke to their queen like she was just another person. It wasn't disrespectful. It was natural, simple, sincere, and Sareth didn't get angry. Instead, her trembling slowed. "Perhaps I am mistaken." But her voice said she wasn't. They eventually reached the negotiation table. Advisors began reading the agenda, discussing trade routes, border agreements, and technology exchange. Elias listened politely, answering when needed, but he kept noticing the queen staring at him from time to time, not with suspicion, not with hostility, with something like disbelief, and something else he couldn't name. At one point, she leaned toward him and whispered, "Human, why do you stand like that?" He blinked. "Like what?" "So calm," she said. Her voice was low, so steady, even among enemies. Elias gave a small smile. "Are we enemies, Your Majesty?" Her breath caught again. "No," she whispered. Another tremble shook her fingertips. The room noticed it. The Empire felt it. The whispers began again, spreading like a quiet storm. A queen trembling twice in one day was unheard of. Unthinkable. Impossible. Elias tilted his head slightly. "Are you sure you're okay?" His voice had the same tone he used years ago without knowing it. The same gentle tone he used when he lifted a frightened alien child from a collapsing corridor. Her heart shook. The Empire shook. The hall felt like it was too small to hold the sudden energy between them. She steadied herself. "Human, you have no idea what you are." He looked confused. "What do you mean?" She looked away, unable to speak more without revealing too much. The truth was too heavy, too deep, too personal to say in front of her entire empire. Because the human standing before her was the reason she was alive. The reason she became queen. The reason her empire still existed. But he didn't know. The meeting continued, but the balance of power had already shifted. Advisors sensed it. Guards sensed it. Even the air felt different, because when the queen trembled, the empire trembled. And when she trembled again because of one human, the entire Averron Empire realized something world-changing. This human was not just a visitor. He was not just a soldier. He was not just a representative. He was someone who could shake the greatest empire in the galaxy without lifting a single weapon. Elias didn't know it yet, but the universe had already changed the moment she saw him. The news spread across the Averron Empire faster than any message in years. Palace workers whispered. Generals stiffened in disbelief. Advisors argued behind closed doors. Scholars and analysts rushed to old records, searching for any reason, any explanation, any clue. But no document explained why the unshakable Queen Sareth had trembled twice in front of a single human. To them, Elias seemed so ordinary. No special armor, no shining medals, no glowing marks, just a human with calm eyes and a steady voice. But to their queen, he was something else entirely. Elias didn't understand the effect he was having. After the long meeting finished, he simply asked for a quiet room where he could rest. Sareth approved it instantly, though her advisors objected loudly. No visitor had ever been allowed to sleep inside the royal palace except highly trusted allies. But Sareth ignored them all and assigned him a room near her private wing. The moment he stepped out of the hall, she stayed behind on her throne, trying to calm her breath. The tremble still lingered in her fingers. She closed her eyes and leaned back, feeling a storm building inside her chest. She had waited years for a chance to find the human who saved her life. Years of searching. Years of believing he might have died. Years of trying to forget a memory that shaped her whole destiny. And now he walked into her hall like it was nothing. He didn't recognize her. He didn't remember her. But she remembered everything. One of her oldest advisors, Lord Vaughn, approached carefully. "My queen, the Empire is unsettled. They want to know why you reacted that way." Sareth opened her silver eyes slowly. They glowed faintly, the way they did when she was under strong emotions. "Tell them nothing." "But nothing," she repeated, her voice returning to its usual cold strength. Vaughn bowed, but his expression remained uneasy. The queen was hiding something. He knew it, the entire council knew it. And if Sareth hid something, it meant the truth was not simple. Inside his assigned room, Elias placed his bag down and sat on the bed, exhaling slowly. He didn't know why the queen kept staring at him. He didn't know why she seemed shaken. He didn't know why she asked if they had met. But something about her reaction bothered him. It felt too personal. He lay back for a moment, watching the ceiling lights pulse softly. He was tired from the long travel, but sleep didn't come easily. His thoughts kept returning to the queen's eyes, silver, bright, almost emotional at moments. A knock interrupted his thoughts. When he opened the door, a young Acheron guard bowed slightly. "Commander Elias, Her Majesty requests your presence in the private gardens." "At this hour?" he asked. The guard nodded nervously. "Yes, she said it is important." Elias sighed and fastened his uniform again. He wasn't good at understanding royal customs, but he knew an order when he heard one. The palace gardens were silent, lit by soft floating lights shaped like blooming stars. Tall crystal trees glowed faintly, and rare alien flowers whispered when touched by the breeze. The air smelled sweet and calming. Queen Sareth stood near a pool of clear water, her cloak removed, revealing simple royal attire. Her back was straight, but her hands were clasped in front of her as if she was keeping them from trembling again. He walked closer. "You wanted to see me?" She turned slowly. "Yes." For a moment, they simply stared at each other. The silence felt heavy, filled with things neither of them knew how to say. "You asked earlier if we met before," he finally said. "I honestly don't remember. If we did, I'm sorry." Her eyes softened. "Do not apologize. It is not your fault. Then, why did you ask?" She looked down at the water, the reflection of the palace flickering on its surface. "When I was young, before I became queen, there was an accident. A research station collapse. I was inside. I would have died," he frowned. See, a human saved me," she continued quietly. "He moved through fire, through smoke, through falling metal to reach me. He carried me out when I could not walk." She touched her chest as if feeling old fear. "I never saw him again. And you think that was me?" She turned her gaze toward him again, silver eyes shining in the dim light. "I know it was you." He shifted, uncomfortable. "I've done rescue work before, but I don't remember being on a collapsing station with—" She stepped closer, her voice almost a whisper. "Your eyes, your voice, your stance, even your way of breathing through danger." Her gaze softened further. "No one else moved like that. Even today you walked into my hall with the same calm I saw years ago." Elias opened his mouth to reply, but she lifted a hand gently. "I do not ask you to remember," she said, "but understand this, you shaped my destiny the moment you saved me. I lived because of you. I rose because of you. And as queen, everything I built came from that one moment." He swallowed. That was not something he expected to hear in a diplomatic meeting. "Your Majesty," he said softly, "I'm glad you survived. But I didn't save you because you were special. I saved you because someone needed help." Her breath caught again, but this time it wasn't fear. It was something warm, something almost painful. "That," she whispered, "is exactly why you are special." Before he could reply, a sudden tremor shook the ground lightly. A wave of ripples passed through the garden pool. The floating lights flickered. Sareth's eyes narrowed immediately. "That was not natural," she said sharply. Elias stepped beside her instinctively. "What was it?" Her communicator chimed. She answered quickly and a panicked guard's voice came through. My queen, a ship just breached our outer defense ring. We are identifying it now. The voice cut off, replaced by static. Elias tensed. That doesn't sound good. Sareth turned sharply toward the palace. Follow me. They moved quickly through the garden, entering a hidden passage that led directly to the command chamber. The room was filled with holographic screens, alarms flashing red and guards rushing to stations. One general bowed when he saw her. My queen, the ship belongs to the Karos Dominion. They are demanding access to you immediately. Sareth's expression hardened. The Karos Dominion dares to breach my borders? They claim, the general continued, that they have come for the human. Elias froze. Me? Sareth's eyes snapped toward him, sharp and alert. Why would they want you? I have no idea, he said honestly. The general continued. They say the human commander holds information critical to their war efforts. They demanded we hand him over. Elias frowned deeply. That's impossible. I've never had contact with them. Sareth stepped forward. Her voice dropped into the cold tone that once made galaxies obey her. Activate the shield grid. Prepare the fleet. No one enters my empire without my permission. The general bowed and shouted commands. Sareth turned to Elias again. Tell me everything. Why would they want you? I swear I don't know, he said. I've never met anyone from the Karos Dominion. She studied his face closely, searching for any sign of a hidden truth. But Elias was sincere, simple, honest. Then she understood. It is not what you did, she said slowly. It is what you represent. He raised an eyebrow. Meaning? They fear humans, she said. And they fear you even more because you walked into my hall and shook an entire empire by accident. His eyes widened slightly. I didn't mean to cause trouble. You didn't, she said softly. But I did. Alarm suddenly intensified. Another transmission came through. Enemy fleet incoming. 23 ships. Sareth straightened, her voice becoming steel. If they want the human, they will have to fight an entire empire. Elias looked at her. You don't have to protect me. I can fight. She gave him a look he couldn't decipher. You saved me once. I will not allow anyone to take you. For the first time that night, Elias realized something important. This queen wasn't just shaken. She wasn't just remembering the past. She wasn't just grateful. She felt responsible for him, deeply, personally, powerfully, and her empire felt her emotions like a storm. Outside, fleets prepared for battle. Inside, two lives that once crossed by accident were about to change the fate of the galaxy again. The command chamber shook as the palace shields activated, glowing with layers of protective energy that spread like a dome across the capital city. Outside, in the vast sky, the incoming Karos fleet formed dark shapes against the stars. Their ships were sharp, angular, and known across the galaxy for their aggression. They were not bluffing. They had come prepared for war. Elias watched the holographic displays with growing focus. He was trained for combat, but he had never expected to be the reason an alien empire prepared its defenses. Sareth stood beside him, her presence strong and steady despite the storm within her eyes. Status, she commanded. One of the generals reported quickly. Our first defense ring has armed its cannons. The second ring is charging. The Karos fleet is holding position, but they are powering their weapons. Sareth's silver eyes narrowed. Open a channel. A large hologram appeared in front of them. The face of a Karos commander flickered into view, dark-scaled with glowing red symbols across his forehead. His voice was cold and sharp. Queen Sareth, your empire hides something that belongs to us. Sareth folded her arms. Nothing inside my borders belongs to you. The Karos commander leaned forward. Hand over the human. Elias stepped forward instinctively. Why do you want me? I've never had contact with your people. The commander ignored him and spoke to Sareth. Our intelligence division has discovered that this human is more dangerous than he appears. His presence among you threatens our future plans. Hand him over and we will leave peacefully. Sareth laughed softly, a dangerous icy sound that echoed through the chamber. You breach my borders, threaten my capital, and demand one of my guests? You forget where you stand, the Karos commander snarled. He is a death-worlder. Humans break rules of survival. They bend fate. This one especially has a record of impossible acts. He destroyed one of our outposts years ago. Elias blinked. That's not true. It is, the commander growled. You helped evacuate a collapsing research station. That station held classified Keros technology we had secretly planted. You destroyed it when you saved the alien girl trapped inside. Elias froze. The station? I only tried to save lives. Sareth turned toward him sharply. He could see the shock in her expression. She remembered the same station. The Keros commander glared. Your interference cost us a decade of progress. We tracked the survivor. We found she became queen. We knew the human who saved her would become important to the future. And now, you stand beside her throne. Sareth's jaw clenched. So that is why you attack? Because he saved me? The commander hissed. His existence threatens our plans. Remove him and your empire will be spared. Sareth stepped forward, eyes blazing. I do not hand over the person who saved my life. If you want him, you fight all of Avaron. The hologram vanished. Alarms blared. In the next instant, the sky lit up with the first volley of fire. The Keros fleet attacked. The palace shook from the impact. Sareth's guards rushed to positions and the general shouted orders. Elias moved with trained precision, helping coordinate defense patterns, reading battlefield data faster than the alien officers expected. You know these tactics? A general asked in surprise. Elias nodded. Combat data works the same everywhere. They're testing your shields. They want to find weak points. Sareth watched him closely. Even in chaos, he stayed calm. The same way he stayed calm years ago as a collapsing ceiling fell around him. The same calm that made her heart tighten in her chest. He turned toward her. I can help your defense teams. You are not a member of my military, she said. But your people need help, he replied simply. That same simple honesty reached her again. She gave a slow nod. Go. Elias rushed to the tactical station, joining a group of Avaran officers. Within minutes, he predicted the Keros attack patterns, identified a hidden flanking ship, and warned the fleet in time to stop a destructive strike. Adjust your second ring cannons, Elias shouted. They're targeting the power conduit on the west side. The officers listened immediately. Sareth noticed something remarkable. The Avaran soldiers, known for their strict hierarchy, followed the human's voice without hesitation. His instructions were clear, quick, and focused. He didn't shout to gain control. He simply spoke with natural confidence. Sareth stepped beside him. You've done this before. Combat's combat, he said. Doesn't matter the species. And danger? She asked. He looked at her with the same calm eyes from her childhood memory. Danger is just another problem. Something inside her chest trembled again. Outside, the battle intensified. The Avaron fleet pushed back with disciplined fire. Massive energy cannons roared across the sky. Shield grids glowed bright blue as they absorbed enemy hits. The Keros ships tried new angles, but Elias predicted them, guiding the defense teams. One officer exclaimed, How does he see these patterns? Sareth answered quietly, He has seen danger from closer places than any of us. The enemy changed tactics. A small Keros vessel broke away from the fleet, diving toward the palace. A direct strike. A suicide run. Elias's eyes widened. They're targeting your command center. Sareth's guards prepared to shield her, but Elias grabbed her arm. Move. He pulled her just as a blast shook the ground. The roof cracked. Lights flickered. Debris fell around them, but none touched her because Elias kept himself between her and the falling fragments, just like years ago. Sareth stared at him, stunned. You again. But there was no time to speak. Elias pushed her behind reinforced cover as smoke filled part of the chamber. Outside, the Avaron fleet took advantage of the enemy's mistake. Their cannons focused fire on the attacking ship and destroyed it. But the Keros commander appeared again on a smaller hologram. He was furious. You protect him too much, Queen. You think he is your strength. But he is your weakness. Sareth stood, her voice strong. No. He is the reason I am strong. The commander slammed a clawed hand onto his console. Then fall with him. The enemy fleet charged forward with full force. A final desperate attack. Elias didn't hesitate. Sareth, order your ships to tilt the shield grid by 10 degrees and fire at their engines. They're overextending. Sareth didn't question him. She trusted his instinct completely. Do it, she commanded. The fleet followed. The shield grid shifted, bending the incoming attack. The Avaron cannons targeted the engines of the Keros fleet. One by one, the enemy ships lost control, spiraling out of formation. The generals shouted triumphantly, Their formation is breaking. Elias pointed at the lead ship. Hit that one now. It's their command vessel. A final volley of energy burst from the Aviron cannons, piercing the enemy flagship. It exploded in a blinding flash. Silence followed. The remaining Kero ships retreated immediately, vanishing into hyperspace. The battle was over, the command chamber filled with relief. Soldiers cheered. Officers saluted. Generals congratulated the Queen, but Sareth ignored all of them. She walked straight to Elias. He stood there covered in dust, breathing hard but steady. His uniform was torn. His hair was messy, but his gaze was calm, the same gaze she remembered. "You saved my empire," she said softly. He shook his head. "Your people fought hard. I just helped." She stepped closer, her voice lowering. "You saved me again." He looked down, embarrassed. "Anyone would have done it." "No," she whispered. "Not anyone." The palace lights glowed warmly as the crisis passed. The Empire had witnessed something incredible. A human who stood beside their queen and protected her from both history and danger. Sareth took a deep breath. "Elias, I need to tell you something." "What is it?" "When I trembled earlier," she said, "it was not fear. It was recognition, and something else I did not want to admit." He stayed quiet, waiting. "You changed my life once," she said, "and today you changed my empire." He didn't know what to say. She looked into his eyes with a steady gaze. "I cannot forget what you did, and I cannot ignore how you make me feel. You shake my heart, the same way you shake the galaxy without trying." Elias felt warmth rise in his chest. He had never heard a queen speak like this. The advisors and guards watched from a distance but did not dare interrupt. They had never seen their queen speak with such honesty. Sareth continued, "You are not just a visitor, not just a soldier, not just the human who saved my childhood." Her voice softened even further. "You are someone my empire now owes a debt to." "That's not necessary." She touched his hand lightly. He froze. "It is," she whispered, "because in all the galaxy there is only one person who can make the Queen tremble, and still make her feel safe." Elias didn't pull his hand away. The Empire would speak of this day for generations. The day the Queen trembled. The day a human changed the fate of thousands of worlds. The day the strongest ruler in the galaxy found her heart shaken not by fear, but by the one human who once saved her life and had unknowingly returned to save it again. And as the palace lights dimmed into a peaceful glow, the Aviron Empire understood a new truth. Their queen had chosen her strength, and that strength was human.